Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and today is the 14th day of December 2025, and I have a very non-Christmassy biblical text to share with you, and I'll tie it in later. This is from Mark, the 10th chapter, 13 to 16. People were bringing little children to Jesus for him to place his hands on them, but the disciples rebuked them. When Jesus saw this, he was indignant. He said to them, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Truly I tell you, anyone who does not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it." And he took the children in his arms, placed his hands on them, and blessed them. We had two Christmas Eve services at Northbrae, an early service for families with children, maybe at 6:30 or 7, and a late service at 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve with lots of candles and lots of music. The early service featured a reenactment of the Christmas story, complete with angels and shepherds, a donkey for Mary and Joseph, 3 wise men. There were no camels, however. We drew the line at camels, no camels. Our routine evolved over the years, but the pageant had its basic characters with a lot of extras included. We would have Mary, Joseph, an innkeeper, the chief angel, and a lead shepherd, and 3 wise men already selected. Those were the roles that had to be in place as a structure around which we would build the rest of the pageant. The role that most of the young people coveted the most was the donkey. If you got to be the donkey, you'd made it to the pinnacle of prime roles in the pageant. The high school kids did the narration for the pageant. There were no speaking roles in the pageant itself. So to this core group, we would add whoever wanted to be in the pageant. As families came to the chapel entrance, we'd ask the kids that accompanied them, "Do you want to be in the pageant?" And if we got a yes, then the next question was, "Do you want to be an angel or a shepherd?" Based on their answer, they would be sent to either the shepherd department or the angel department. We had lots of white robes and halos for the angels, and there were assorted colored robes, excuse me, and shepherd's crooks for the shepherds. Now, we happily violated scriptural accuracy, having the wise men arrive at the manger after the shepherds had visited. Matthew actually says the wise men arrived to, quote, the house where the young child was with Mary, his mother. That was just too complex for pageant purposes, and so the wise men came to the manger. Everything that could go wrong over the years did. The heavenly host of angels who were supposed to come into the area behind the shepherds up at the front of the church by way of a sliding door behind the altar. After the chief angel announced the baby was to be born in the manger, the heavenly hosts were supposed to appear, but one year they couldn't. Somebody had locked the sliding door, and the angels couldn't get in. They were locked out of the chapel, out of the church itself. We could see kind of faint shadows of angels behind the stained glass of the windows, but that's the best we could do that year with angelic appearances. And that's the way it is with angels sometimes. You kind of get a suggestion of them, a kind of a faint shadow behind the stained glass. Another year, the shepherds got lost on the way to the manger. After the angel's announcement as to where the baby was to be born, We could see the shepherds' crooks moving back and forth across the front of the church, but they never made it to the manger. They all just continued to wander about the front of the church, and all we could see was the crooks. One year, we had a very sharp Mary. She knew her role, she knew the story, she'd been in the pageant before, she was ready to perform. Unfortunately, somebody had left the doll that represented the baby Jesus in the manger after the last rehearsal. And so as the story was told, Mary and Joseph arrive with the donkey, only to find that there's no room in the inn. The innkeeper showed Mary and Joseph to the stable, and Mary takes one look at the accommodations and sees that the baby Jesus is already in the manger, and he's not supposed to be yet. She walks over to the manger, grabs the baby Jesus by a leg, and throws him backstage. The parents who were directing the pageant would worry about whether everything would go as planned. I had to assure them that things definitely would not go as planned, but that whatever happened, it would be fine. All the children got to participate in the age-old story. They would act out the parts as the story was read. They would remember, even if the shepherds got lost, even if the angels were locked out of the building, we would all still sing the songs of the season and celebrate the birth of Emmanuel. Christmas is a refreshing annual reminder that awe and wonder are part of our observance of the season. Anytime we experience a new birth, we should be in absolute awe at the way the gift of life is given. Jesus used a little child as a sermon illustration. He said some startling things over his period of ministry, and this was one of them. He said, "Anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a child, not as a child, but like a child, will never enter it." We are to be uncritical and uncynical. We need to be willing to be dazzled and amazed, trusting and ready to forgive. Robert Louis Stevenson says in his Christmas prayer, "May the Christmas evening bring us to our beds forgiving and forgiven." Some years ago, I challenged myself to write a new creative piece each Christmas. And in 1977, boy, that seems like a long time ago, I wrote a poem entitled "Christmas is for Children." Christmas is for children, we say, in the midst of the scattered toys and the Christmas wrap. It's really all for them. Yet there is something in me that is a child too, and will not let me retire from the celebration. Christmas is for the child in each of us. Though we turn our back on him in our adultness, at Christmas he creeps out again, beckoning our adult selves to follow if we dare, back to a world we thought we had left forever. Christmas is for babies, full to the brim with possibility, new creations with little worry about the past, owning nothing but future, tough, vulnerable things, complicated and trusting. Christmas is for children who like surprises, who take joy in giving and receiving, who will exhaust the possibilities an inquiring mind can bring to a new object or idea. Christmas is for children who love the wrapping paper, who insist on protecting it from harm at all cost, even as they are unwrapping their biggest gift ever. But it's also for those who can't wait, who shred the stuff beyond recognition to have out what is hidden inside. Christmas is for singing children who sing uncritical of the theology of the lyrics, singing out of celebration and a need to let the joy out. May their tribe increase. Christmas is for eclectic children who put Rudolph and Frosty in the creche, refusing to draw a dividing line down the middle of their celebration. Christmas is for shy children, able to say through giving what they have never been brave enough to verbalize. Christmas is for children foolish enough to follow a star, like the wise men, childlike enough to search for an unlikely king. Christmas is for children who listen to angels, who trust the message from magical creatures and go in childlike faith to find their long hoped for dreams come true. Christmas is for children, we say, yet sometimes I think Christmas is for the child in each of us, if only we would let it be so. Now, God bless you. Merry Christmas to you all, and please take care. Best of the season to you.